Woody Valley race. And then you have a zip there for the pocket at the top.
That's a good decision by Woody Valley for them.
Some pilots ask us if they can fit a second reserve on an ultralight pod harness. I've managed to damage that.
With the inflatable protector is that you've still got the...
And for this flight deck, that's starting to get a bit on the heavy side.
In any of the long flights that I've done, I've never felt sort of...
And now I'm going to give you an idea of the pack size. Jump test! So here we are, we're looking at the Woody Valley race, and this is an evolution of the Race Pro, which is the harness which high-level ex-Alps athletes and in other high-level competitions flew, and that's the more extreme version. This is the harness that's come about as an evolution from that's then available to the public. So apparently the Race Pro and the race were developed with Aaron Durogati. He's the super top Italian pilot and other top hike and fly racing pilots, and they've developed and evolved the harness and to get to where it is. And the race is suitable for both hike and fly racing, full bivouac flying, and also just pilots for XC flying for pilots who want light, ultralight, super compact gear. The weight starts at an amazing 1.77 kilos for the smallest size, and I think that's with a semi-rigid protector, which I think is very slightly lighter than the inflatable protector. And there's 4 sizes, at small to extra large, covering quite a wide range of sizes and heights of pilots. And as I said, it comes with 2 different types of protector, so you can order it either straight off with a semi-rigid protector or with the inflatable protector, or you can order it with one of those and then order the other type of protector as an extra, so you can change to that. So that's the semi-rigid protector, which you can see is basically, I think it's a foam block of polystyrene. And the idea of it is, the reason it's semi-rigid is that it will compress down. You can't compress it when you're packing, so it does definitely affect the pack volume, but it's incredibly light. It is so light. So this is, you've probably now seen these kind of protectors. That's the inflatable protector, and you blow it up through the tube, and you can see the difference really in volume. So this is the semi-rigid protector, and it doesn't squish down. It's not like a foam protector which you can compress down. This just stays that size. It's very similar to the Woody Valley GTO Light 1 and 2, which has got a non-compressible protector in it that stays the same size. And if you compare that to the inflatable protector, you can see that's the major benefit, is that it's so much thinner. And if I'm right, I think the weight of it, the inflatable protector is very slightly heavier than the semi-rigid protector. Okay.
Ow!
In this harness, yes, you can see we've got the semi-rigid protector. This is the size large race, and now I'm going to give you an idea of the pack size. So when you pack it, you put the stuffing like that, and then tuck that like that. Just trying to give you an idea of the pack size. So like so, let's put it flat on the ground. And that gives you an idea of what the pack size is. With the, that's with the semi-rigid protector. You can see already it's pretty compact. Fits the large size of the race, fits in the Alaska 75 backpack perfectly. It's a really good fit for that. And the medium size race fits in the Alaska 65 backpack perfectly. and as with the small size as well, and also the extra large size of the race would also fit in the Alaska 75. So basically, if you're going for if you get the race small or medium, get the Alaska 65 backpack is a perfect fit for that. Large and extra large, go for the Alaska 75. So with a race, what you've got, it's a pod harness, so it's got the Speedbag, and that's a zip-on and off Speedbag, so it is replaceable. It is made out of ripstop material up here, as most of them are, and that obviously means it's quite a bit more fragile than the other type of material. And at the bottom you've got this part here, which is made out of a stretchy material to allow for a bit of give for different sizes and different lengths of pilot, and so that allows for the range to keep the Speedbag tight when you adjust the length of the Speedbag, and still allow for pilots with shorter or longer legs. Here's the cockpit, like so. This is actually completely removable, like so, and that's just held on there with a strip of Velcro at the bottom. And then at the top, these two clips. So there's a clip at the top there, and the other side there, and then so when you're flying that hangs down like so. So there's a kind of example of how I've managed to damage that through all the testing and stuff that I've done, and so it's a bit damaged, but then because it's ripstop material, it's very easy to fix and patch up and fix that up. This is the pocket here. I tend to put my phone and cereal bars in the top of that, showing these details. Looking on the back, here we're showing this is the pocket for the power bank. So in there you can use it for whatever you want, but generally you can put your power bank in here, and then it's just a zip. There's no hole for the power bank cable to come out. You just leave the zip open a little bit and the cable comes out of there, and then you can come around to charge up your instruments, or you're going to charge your phone, or you might have an instrument and your phone on the flight deck. So something pilots often ask us is what fits on the flight deck, and it's hard to tell that from the pictures, so I'm going to just show you a few different instruments. Obviously, this being an ultralight harness, I'm going to start off with lighter instruments. Well, first of all, this is this Cortel design flight panel that we use because we're swapping stuff around. Even with that fits pretty well on there. Next we've got a Skytrax 5. I'm just showing you some different instruments so you get an idea of what size they would be on the flight deck. So like that, you can see you can stick that on there, and again still have space for a smartphone on the side. A Navita ODN. But you can see it does actually still fit on here, and you can still fit a smartphone next to it. So it does fit on there. The only thing I will say is that the ODN is quite heavy, well, relatively speaking, and for this flight deck with a bit of Velcro and little clips there, that's starting to get a bit on the heavy side for it. Here there's little magnets inside the Speedbag, at least one's there, and that's partly how that closes up. This is one of the side pockets here, the zip. So we're showing inside, and there's that side pocket there. Nose cone. Another pocket. So there's a pocket on both sides. Here there's these really useful and quite large side pockets. And they're actually quite generous, so if you put something in there, you can still put quite a lot of stuff in there. Another similar pocket on the other side. At first I was a bit dubious. It's kind of like, oh, are they going to get in the way? And actually they don't get in the way at all, do they? You put stuff in there, stuff all fits in there really well, and it doesn't interfere with the Speedbag or the getting in and out of the Speedbag or use of it, I found. There's still lots of space. speed system, which is, well, works really, really well. I found it worked really easy to get your feet on it. It seems to be really nicely designed. So it's a 3-step speed system, and there's a bungee here that keeps them connected to help you get your foot on it. And that's the 2nd step. And the 3rd step, attached by these lines, and then the front there is connected to the foot plate. There's a hole in the foot plate, which is a carbon foot plate. So you've got a carbon foot plate, and then the bungee going through the middle of the plate, which means that the speed system sits nicely in the middle. And I've always found it, both Nancy and I have found it really easy to get our feet on the speed system everywhere. I'd say this is the best speed system of any of the ultralight pods that I've used. I might have liked to see bigger pulleys, but I guess they've gone for lighter pulleys. And the pulley system, the speed system, seems nice to use, so very good. Now we're talking about storage. So this is the under-seat pocket. The one thing we have to say is that it is surprisingly small compared to some. It's just like, oh, I don't know, a couple of litres, where some of them are several litres. You can fit an ultralight concertina bag and the helmet bag and some of the little bits in there, fine. The harness comes as standard with a bungee cord with a ball on it. This is our preferred system, and that attaches to the side there. It is removable if you don't want it, easily to remove that. It's just a little clip you can undo and take that off. And as we said, it's ironically this, I've never needed to use the foot bungee on this harness, but it's just nice that it's there. Those are the leg straps there, and the little buckles, which are quite small and a little bit more fiddly than some bigger buckles, but actually seem to work perfectly fine. There's the waist strap adjustment there, and that is actually easy to use in flight. So if you're wanting to extend that, you see it's got the marks on there, the red and the blue mark there, to give you an idea of what position you've got it in, depending how much weight shift you want. So one key point to make about the race is that they've decided to make it so you can take both straps off. So there's a couple of the harnesses, the Arrow P and the Advanced Weightless, where they've got one strap fixed on one side. So for example, so this they've decided to leave that. You've also got the option of leaving them all done up and putting it on like a pair of pants as well as you want. And this is the safety system. We're going to show the clipping in system in a bit. So there's the reserve handle, which is held here by a magnet, and there's no Velcro as such here. These are held by these loops, these webbing loops. There's lots of them, similar to the Ozone BV1. That's a similar kind of idea. So they're going like so, and there's these red ones there, so you can see clearly if the lines, if the nylon rods are actually going through there or not. So it's very easy to see that you've got it all in place. That's the side inlet to the rear fairing, show in a minute. Here's the reserve compartment, just to show you, so you have an idea. So the reserve is in there, to make sure that you just set that away, and it's a very neat little pocket there. So the zip there, and then that goes round here, and that runs up, if you follow my count finger, so that follows up round to here, and at the top here, very similar to the weightless. There's, instead of having two shorter connection points that you attach to, they have slightly longer, not as long as the weightless. There's two connection points which you can join together. In here we've got a non-steerable reserve in here, which we've then connected with a soft link, and then that runs down the reserve channel. Yeah, that runs down the reserve channel and into where the reserve is there. The point is that there's no extra reserve bridle to there. You're actually connecting the reserve directly to those loops, which actually saves you another couple 100 grams or so, because you don't need reserve bridles. So the harness is delivered as standard with the Charlie Unilock carabiners, which are very similar to the Ilrid 4as, in that they have got an asymmetric sideways opening like so. That just makes the gap bigger there. Very nice carabiners. Woody Valley have done here is they've, seeing some other ultralight harnesses which had issues with the carabiners twisting, they've put O-rings and a clip here, and this is all very snugly well held in place. This does not move. In fact, to take this off on that is a bit of a fiddle, but in terms of from usability, and there's no issue with that turning in on during launch or something like that. The shoulder straps are easily adjustable, same type of buckle as on the waist strap, so you can actually adjust those in the air like the waist strap, although with these bib flight decks the waist strap's actually kind of underneath it, so it's kind of a bit tucked away, but you can do it. These straps, however, the side straps, which are this kind of buckle that Woody Valley use, a small figure of 8 buckle, and it goes through back on itself and doubles through, that you're not going to adjust in the air. You need to get that sorted before you launch. Just to show you how the drinks tube rotating is, you just fit it through there. It runs past the Reco thing, which is the Swiss safety kind of system. Read about that on the product description, is the easiest. And the drinks tube runs through here and goes through there, and there isn't a drinks hole as such, tube hole. All you do is you just pull the zip across and leave it sticking out the side like that. And going back to opening the compartment, so that's where the actual drinks container goes, so you put your drinks holder in there, and that's the storage area. Let's try and show you that. The storage area there, I'm just trying to get that thing out of the way. So, and that's the storage area there.
Quite a generous size.
It's a good size. It's not massive. It's not like the Ozone BV1, which is very Volbiv focused, and there's a massive hole there. But it is a good size, and what I find, so if you fold the Alaska, and you do want to have a light, it'd be silly to have an ultralight harness and then a heavy rucksack, so that fits in there really nicely, and then you just fold it up, pop that in the back, and that goes in there nicely. A key point I want to make is that with this, I found if I fill that up completely, totally fill it up, it doesn't affect the comfort of the harness. It doesn't push into the back, and it doesn't affect, you know, your comfort or getting in and out of the pod or anything like that. It's been designed well like that. And one little detail under the right flap here, there's a little pocket, teeny weeny pocket there, which is for an optional bridle knife that would go inside that pocket there, which I believe Woody Valley do. A little bit of Velcro there to put on your Mini Vario or your Garmin InReach Mini. Side on the left hand side, you've got the outlet there for the P tube, so that runs through. That's my finger. Point I want to make about the reserve zip, which I really like and I'd like to see on more harnesses, is that a lot of reserve zips, so this is for the, so if you throw your reserve, the bridle's open and it'll come out, and an awful lot of harnesses the zip stops kind of there, which actually means it's kind of very tight to where the bridles will come out when you throw your reserve, which can result in damaging the zip. And what I really like here is Woody Valley have made that zip run all the way down to here, so basically that would open all the way up to here and the bridles will come out, so there's loads of space and there's no chance that the zip should get damaged or that it will catch on the reserve bridles. Clipping in, shoulder straps first. So next, just worth tidying these up at the lines in a bit, and actually you do the leg straps first, so reaching between your legs, make sure these aren't twisted, then you reach across, find the carabiner, follow it down and pass those through there. To do up, it's very easy with your hands, a little fiddly with gloves on, but still okay. And you do need to make sure when you do them you haven't got those twisted like so. Voila! And just show again for the waist strap, you can adjust like so to open and make the harness more weight shifty, or tighten up this way, and you've got the markers like so, and there's a blue marker as well to show you which position you're in. There you go. Then actually what you've got, this is the optional stabilization system, which I could have done up before, and this is the part where you clip in the middle. There we go. Next thing you could do is, reaching down, you've got the optional bungee cord that you can use, and just pop that in through laces like that. As always with a pod harness, you work out which is the lower flap of the Speedbag, which on this harness is the left hand side. So you get the loop there. You can see the way Woody Valley just have a simple bit of webbing with a knot tied into it. So you follow it down from the carabiner to there, and you've got one of the Paddington jacket toggles. Pop that through there. Next, what I prefer to do is, next to do the flight deck, clipping in the safety system. So you go to the waist strap and follow it like so to here, get your red toggly thing there, then pass that through there, then follow the flight deck down, there's the D-ring there, pass that through, grab your Paddington bear toggle again, pass it through there. Et voila!
Voila!
Showing some details here. I use a 10,000 milliamp hour power bank, and I have these right angled USB cables. So that, you just pop that in there, and this is where you just tuck the cable inside and then slip that across. Easier when you're not already clipped into the harness. I'm making this look more difficult, just a test, you know. And that clips there, and then you've got the power bank cable that pokes out the side. That power bank's got 2 holes in it, so I could power 2 things if I wanted. But you can power your things, or if you had your phone in here like so, I can plug that in. The advantage of the right angle cables is that they're less likely to get damaged or damage the jack on your phone or your instrument. You can see again the way Woody Valley have done it, there isn't a hole as such, it just comes out the side of the zip, which works perfectly well. Some pilots ask us if they can fit a second reserve on an ultralight pod harness like the Race, and you can do. It's sort of not specifically designed with that in mind, I don't think, but what you can do is here for example is an advanced front container zip with an ultralight advance, I think it's an advanced companion SQR light in there, and then you could mount that onto here and use a front container that connects onto the main carabiners like this.
Well, I mean, Woody Valley harnesses are very well made, very good construction. I mean, we've been working with Woody Valley for a long time now, and their general range of harnesses they're very well made, very good.
Yeah, well, they've been harness specialists for a very long time, haven't they? So yeah, they know about harnesses.
Yes,
they've been making them a
definitely,
long time.
Yeah, they know what they're doing with their
But about
harnesses.
the Race particularly.
Yeah, particularly about the Race. So with the Race harness, I mean, it is an ultralight product, and I think it's fair to say, I mean, we reckon we've flown the harnesses. They've had a lot of use in the last 5-6 months, and somewhere between 60-80 hours
on the medium,
and
I think about 40 hours on the large.
Yeah, to be fair, I think they are showing signs of a little wear.
Yeah, and I think they're showing a little bit on the Speedbag, isn't it? It's just it's the in and out of the Speedbag.
Yes.
And it's just on the entry in and out, there's showing a little bit of signs of the thread sort of coming slightly undone on a bit, which should just be an easy fix. But other than that, have you noticed anything else?
No, I mean, everything else, you know, the quality of the webbing, the general materials used, although they're ultralight and lightweight, they've all been chosen very well. There's nothing, you know, sometimes you'd expect with harnesses where pilots have flown them for 100 hours or more, you'd be seeing wear on the inside of the pod.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if I think about the inside of the pods on these, they're still actually looking pretty good. Like,
Yeah.
I won't say new, but still in very good condition on the inside. So that's a good decision by Woody Valley for the materials that they're actually using on the insides as well. So I think overall you've got a very good quality product and materials chosen by Woody Valley.
If you want it to be indestructible and last forever, then get a heavier weight harness.
Exactly. Yes.
If you want something stronger, get a heavier weight harness. Because if they try and, if people say, oh, well, it came apart, it's rubbish, then the only way they can solve that is by making it heavier. And you're kind of like, no, we want a nice ultralight product, please.
Yeah, make sure that you are matching what you want to what you're using it for, and be realistic.
I've noticed with the race, and I think it's worth mentioning, I think it's exceptionally good for getting in and out of the pod. Even though they've put the bungee on, it's really easy. I've had to get in and out sometimes because we're like trying to do our thing near the camera and stuff like that, and we're sinking out, and I've got the camera pole and juggling balls and things like that. Then sometimes I've had to like very suddenly get out of the pod, and sometimes also taking off in a tricky situation. I've just found it very easy every single time to get in and out.
It's a nice way to push it. It's quite confidence inspiring from that point of view. Getting in and out, you feel like, okay, it's not going to be a big deal. Yeah,
and that was both with the medium, which I'm supposed to be too big for, and the large. I found it really, really easy. So that's really good. So that's big for me. I want to give Woody Valley a really big thumbs up on that one, because that's really nice and an important thing with the pod, I think.
Yes, definitely. The race harness you can have with a semi-rigid protection or an inflatable protector. And I think generally we're agreed that the idea would be, and the recommended would be, to have the harness with the semi-rigid protector, because it works really well with the whole combination. And then, but if you're trying to save on volume, because it's only really volume, not weight, that you would then choose the inflatable protector.
Yes, so you've got the option when you order the harness of either one or the other. It's exactly the important point to make, and you might be confused, is it's exactly the same harness. So when you see the two different versions, the Woody Valley race, the race with rigid, semi-rigid protector, and race with inflatable protector, it's actually exactly the same harness. The only difference is the protector. To give you an idea, the semi-rigid protector is actually lighter than the inflatable protector.
These backpacks that are by the side of us, the Woody Valley Alaska 65, you have the large race in there, and I've got the medium in here, and they both have the foam protector in there with a lightweight glider and a helmet too. So you can see, I mean, the actual overall pack size is still very compact.
The semi-rigid protection, the biggest advantage of it, actually we feel, is the handling. It gives you that more authoritative direct handling. Then aside to that, in addition, there's a convenience side of things where you don't have to inflate and deflate it, and it's not going to get punctured. On the other hand, looking at the cons of it now, you can crush it. It's a bit like the Coroid protectors and other more rigid protectors, where they do give very good protection and they do well in the tests. The inflatable protectors, I think, maybe do slightly better in the actual tests, and how things perform in real life is another question, and that's harder to measure exactly. But one thing you definitely have with this kind of protector is that if you do land hard on it and get it crushed, then it's going to get crushed and needs to be replaced. The inflatable protector, well, if you land hard enough on it, it's going to pop or burst, or if you puncture it, and again, well, it probably won't need to be replaced until it's really badly punctured. It just needs to be repaired. So the Woody Valley race doesn't have a seatboard, so it's a seatboardless harness, and effectively the semi-rigid protector acts like a seatboard. That's very similar to the Woody Valley GTO Light 1 and 2, which also don't have a seatboard, but they have again that option of a rigid, actually that one is quite a rigid protector, but a similar kind of idea.
Yeah, you can feel underneath you in the harness the sort of solidity of it, which we've translated into making it does actually have a really nice handling with the harness. I think it does give you authority with your turns and the feeling that you're getting in the air. I think it's really contributing towards that. The inflatable protector is that you've still got the cushioning, but then not that so much solidity and perhaps directness that you get with this.
The position of the harness, it reminds me a little bit of the Sup Air Strike 2, in that it's got a, whereas, so for example, the Advanced Weightless and the Niviuk Arrow P have this kind of more completely laid back, and the Skywalk Range X Alps 3, they feel to me like they're more laid back kind of position. And it seems to me that the race has more of this kind of thing where it's got you feel like the bottom goes long and then there's a change to your back. The back is in a slightly more upright position.
Yeah. Yes.
And that actually gives you a more stable feeling.
Yeah, you're a little bit more upright.
Yeah. And then, because of the geometry, it actually has very good roll authority.
Yes.
Particularly with the rigid protector in it.
Yeah.
And I felt really good with it.
Yeah.
The speed system is actually especially good. It's very easy to get your foot on. It's easier than the Arrow P and the Weightless.
Agreed.
And all of them actually. I think it's the easiest of the ultralight pods. It's really easy to get your foot on, and whether I've got boots on or the trainers, I find it really easy to get on all the time. And you?
Totally agree. Yeah, it's really it's super easy. It's one of those ones where you just think, you almost think you haven't got it because you have got it. It's been so easy.
So this is a harness made for racing and to go fast. Yeah. And that works really, really well.
So a really usable speed system. Yeah. Easy to find, put it on, light, no pressure, no like pressure with your legs and everything. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's the way that it's rigged up. You don't, when you put on the speed system, it doesn't you don't have the thing pushing in your back or anything like that. That stabilization system is actually aimed at performance. It's not a sort of make it all stable, because you can still adjust the waist strap to adjust your cross bracing to change the kind of weight shift authority or stability of the harness. The cross bracing system is quite similar to the system that I think that's seen on the Cortail Cannonball Race, which is a completely different kind of harness. But it's the same idea, that it's for when you're gliding on bar, especially if you're flying a higher performance, like higher aspect ratio, more unstable glider, and if you're on full bar a lot, and then tightening that system up basically gives you less of this movement. And what happens is that it means you can keep your line better. So it's really a performance orientated thing, I think, and you can keep it on, you can keep the bar on, and if you don't have it with other harnesses, then you kind of notice you can get moved around a bit more. So I think it's, from testing it, I think it's quite effective. So have you found the handling for thermaling and stuff like that, and dealing with turbulence? I know we mentioned it's got nice authority. How do you think the feeling is of the harness when you're in turbulent air and turbulent conditions?
I think the race actually is smoothing out some of the rough stuff. So when I have flown it in stronger conditions, I feel like I've got the confidence that the harness is moving with me and smoothing out a lot of the if there is turbulence. So it's generally it's got a very good support through the harness, and I really like how it feels, particularly around sort of bum and hip area, because I really feel that I can put the harness where I want it to go. So thermaling and trying to turn and get really good weight shift, it really communicates and works with me. Yes,
absolutely. I think that position it's got with the kind of slightly more upright. I've also ended up using it. Funnily enough, I've ended up forgetting sometimes that I'm flying an ultralight pod harness, and I've ended up using it for testing, for doing when I've done more SIV type stuff, like some stalls and spins and collapses and stuff like that, because of that position that it sits in, and it does really well with it. It doesn't have a tendency to twist or anything like that, which you can have with more laid back pods, there's a bit more of a tendency for that. So yeah, I think the stability is good, and in really turbulent active conditions, yeah, I also feel I feel a really good comfort level with it, and a good connection between myself and the harness and that, which I think is really good.
Yeah.
How about the comfort on it? How's the comfort? So for the, just the comfort of sitting in the harness, up your legs, under your bum and up your back.
Overall, I think it's been super comfortable for me. Tell me about thermaling with the race.
Well, I got to do lots of thermaling with it out in Colombia, and I've got to do a really good amount back in the UK, and I do find it really, really good because of that position and the really good authority. It's a harness as well that I feel like I have good weight shift authority and good feeling with it, so I can adjust and sort of adjust when I need to in a thermal, or when I'm trying to follow a lifty line. The harness gives me a really good connection and feeling, and also it's got a really good balance of not being too stable so that you're not sort of able to weight shift and move around, but also not too unstable. And it doesn't have, some harnesses I feel like have a little bit of a tipping point where you kind of wobble around a bit too much, and it's got, I think, a really nice balance. So overall I found it really, really good for thermaling and working lift in general.
The overall comfort with the race is generally just, it fits me very well, and I said so, the only thing I felt that I could have or I'd prefer is a little bit more support underneath my thighs, but it's not something I've felt in any of the long flights that I've done. I've never felt sort of, I'm getting uncomfortable. So actually the longer flights, I still feel like I've got very nice support around my back.
I definitely find the race very comfortable, and even having flown it, I think my longest flight in it was about 5 hours, and I've never started to feel like uncomfortable in the harness. I mean, after a while, I'm getting older, so after a while you end up having to shuffle around a bit anyway with any harness, but I think it's very good. I definitely noticed a difference between the ROP and the weightless, which I find very similar to each other, and the race and the Strike 2, which I feel they feel a bit similar in a way, different but similar. It's that thing that they have this kind of more straight line. The ROP and the weightless have more of this more laid back and straight line thing. You have a kind of, it feels like the harness, you can feel a change in angle, but it's more straight. And with the race and the Strike 2, there's a very clear, the harness goes along the bottom and then there's a bit up for your back, which gives you that sort of different position.
Yeah. And
I don't think one is better than the other. It's a difference, and it's a personal preference. I think some pilots are going to prefer to be in that more laid back position. The race has the fairing, and it's very noticeable that it's really no problem at all on launch. Even when reverse launching, that's when it's the biggest pain, these fairings, when they blow around your face and stuff, and I found it no hassle at all. No. And also, it's the right length, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think it's a good length.
It's to do with the length. If it was any longer, then you might find it coming round and flapping you around the face. But
it's also some of them, like the worst one that I found is the Cannibal Race, the Cool-Tail Cannibal Race, and it's because it's quite long, but also then it's got like a rod in it, a thing that stiffens up, and it just really just gets round your face. And there's none of that with the race. They haven't done. There's no nitinol rod or wire or cable or something like that in the back to do it. So it's really very, very, very nice from that point of view for launching.
Yes. I think it's a practical, good-looking, comfortable harness, and I think going to be really suited to pilots obviously wanting to save weight. If they want to save volume, then they've got the option of the inflatable protection. And if you're heading off to the Alps, again, like the Nivea ROP, could be a very good option for you for a nice compact bag, lightweight gear, to get up those mountains and explore.
It's for pilots who are really looking to get ultralight gear that's got high performance, pilots who want really low weight, but also a harness that's very aerodynamic for flying cross country, for hike and fly and flying big distances. And they accept the fact that it's an ultralight pod and the compromises of that. It's a wrap for the race. Drop a comment down below and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.